it's Mary. I hope that you are doing well. Today we're here to discuss the book The Cat I Never Named by Amra Sabic-El-Rayess with Laura L. Sullivan. So every month I choose a book that is set in the past, and in past months it has been typically a young adult historical fiction book. This month it's a little different because the book I chose is a biography. And this biography is set in mainly 1992 to 1995. It is set in Bihak, Bosnia, which from the end of World War I until 1992 was a part of Yugoslavia. When countries reorganize, different groups and different individuals in those countries have different opinions on how power should be distributed and who should be in authority. Who will make decisions and how will those decisions be made? So the new countries formed from the former Yugoslavia experienced a lot of turmoil during this time of transition. In Bosnia-Herzegovina, there were three main types of ethnic backgrounds. There were the Bosnians, there were the Serbians, and there were the Croatians. Many of the Serbians wanted control in the areas where Serbians lived with other groups. To get that control, the Serbian army attacks Bihak, and the country of Bosnia and the city of Bihak is under siege for over 1,000 days. This book tells of Amra's experiences during this time. Amra was a 16-year-old in 1992. She lived with her parents and her brother Dino in Bihak. Amra and her family are Bosnians, and they have friends in all of the groups. They have friends that are Bosnians, they have friends that are Serbians, they have friends that are Croatians. There comes a time when Amra's friends, who are Serbians, begin to distance themselves from Amra. And there's a day when they don't show up for school. And it's not just that they don't show up for school. None of the Serbian students, none of the Serbian teachers come to school. In fact, they have all fled the city. Even before that day, there have been difficult encounters with the Serbian army. After one of these encounters, Amra looks up and she sees a cat, Masi, in Bosnia. And she tries to shoo the cat away, but it won't go. In fact, the cat comes over and comforts her. And then it follows her home, and it's eventually accepted as part of the family. On the day that all of the Serbians fled the city, at school, Amra's teachers tell the students that they need to go home and go into hiding because the Serbian army is about to attack. Amra goes to her brother's school, gets him, and they return home. Their home doesn't have a basement, and so the family goes to stay with another extended family member. And they stay in that person's basement with other family members for a period of time, and then they realize that they just don't have enough privacy in that living situation, and they return to their house. Throughout the siege, their Masi helps each of them deal with the crisis and is even responsible for saving their lives. And after being lost, she finds her way home again and again. Through reading this story, I gained insight into the experience of living in this fear-filled situation. I'm truly thankful that I have never had to experience anything of that nature. And I wonder why we as humans throughout history have continued to dehumanize our fellow humans that we perceive as belonging to a different group. By creating others, we are brought to the point where we are willing to commit atrocities against our fellow human beings. The Cat I Never Named gave me the opportunity to think about situations like this and decide what I would do when I encounter injustices. So what are some similar books? I've selected a few different kinds of books So there's a graphic novel, there's a biography, and there are 2 fiction books. And the fiction books are set in the past and the present, both at the same time. And I'll start with the biography. So the biography I chose, and a book that I thought about often while reading this book, is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anna Frank. Many of us are familiar with Anna Frank's story, but if you have not yet read the book, I would encourage you to do that. It's the story of a teen undergoing traumatic circumstances, yet she still has faith in her fellow human being. I always get teary when I read the part where she says that she would really like to be a reader, because I think of, since then, how many people have read her book. So the graphic novel that I chose is They Called Us Enemies by George Takei. And this is the story of George Takei's experiences as a young child when he and his family were reassigned to a Japanese-American relocation center. And it gives insight into the resiliency of children and injustices faced by our fellow human beings. And the next book is a YA fiction book that is set in the past and set in the current time. And the title is Mad, Bad, and Dangerous to Know by Samira Ahmed. So, in this story, Kayam is on holiday with her parents in Paris. Her recent research paper, which was going to turn the art world on its head, was instead a big disaster. And 200 years before this, Layla is trying to hide the fact of her true love from the Pasha who has given her an honored status. Their lives in the past and present intertwine. One of them will be rediscovered and the other will have her life transformed. And the last of the books, similar to The Cat I Never Named, is The Paper Girls of Paris. This one is also young adult fiction set in the past and in the present. Alice's grandmother has died and left her family's apartment in Paris to Alice. When they arrive, Alice finds a picture of her grandmother's sister that causes her to question what her grandmother's sister, Adeline, had been up to during World War II. And so instead of just thinking about it, Alice investigates. And what she discovers is a story of bravery and determination. That is all I have for today. Join me next week when we'll be reviewing the 3rd of the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children books, The Library of Souls. Until then, I hope you enjoy whatever you read. Thank you.